Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Annie and Mindy show. It's Mindy Stern and
Annie Callis from Melbourne, Australia.
and we're broadcasting live from two sides of the world. I'm so happy to be with you guys today. Got a lot of energy, a lot of things we want to talk about. Annie, if I can, just before we start, because I want to talk about some really important things, I just want to close the loop on something that we spoke about last week. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen for a second. You guys see that? We published successfully this week on Monday our book, Creating a Life of Possibilities Against All Odds. Annie and I are both co-authors in this book. We have 6 other partners in it. You can see it here. It's available on Amazon, and it was just like a super great experience to launch the book.
Oh, yes. Yep, it sure was.
You want to tell the big news about Australia?
Well, we went #1 within, I think it was within 40 minutes, I think. And I didn't know. And the first thing I heard is that we went #3 in Germany. And I'm really not up with this type of stuff. So I said, well, how do you know? So then the girls told me. So then I went into amazon.com.au and then I had a look and then the book was there and I'm going, well, what number is it? Because I saw all these other things. And then I clicked on it and it had #1. And I said, so that's #1, #2, #3. I said, oh, okay. I still didn't know what it was. And then I rang Michaela and I said, I took a photo of it and I said, Michaela, I don't know what's going on here. I said, can you have a look at, .com.au? And she goes, oh my God, we've got #1 in Australia. I said, how do you know? She goes, well, it's got #1 over there. And I said, and what does that mean? She said, that means that our book outsold all the other releases. And I was like, and I was sitting there, it was so surreal.
Yeah.
It was absolutely surreal. And then we hit Germany, hit #1, then Netherlands hit #1, and then I had to go to sleep because it was like really late. And the following morning, I saw that it went #1 in UK and #2 globally, and we bypassed Michelle Obama. Yeah. And to me, I was like I love Michelle Obama. Yeah, and I'm sure that, her books are selling. And I just went, oh my God, I'm an author and I'm a best-selling author. And, up to the moment of release, I wasn't attached to it.
Yeah.
Because for me, the book was a bit of it was very cathartic to write the book and go through my life. And as I was writing the book, I kept on taking myself to my coaches and I was dealing with the situations that I was writing about. I was actually dealing with them and I got coached out of all this energy, that negative energy that I had attached to the situations that what happened to me in my childhood. And it was like, so, at one point I said, I don't care if the books gets released because I just had such a win out of it. But then I went, well, along the way, I created my business and my methodology to help other people. So this book needs to go out, right? But I still wasn't connected to it until it went live. And I don't know what happened. I went absolutely berserk. And I was messaging people, calling people, looking at which groups, would really, really, really benefit from it. So there's this ladies group, I don't know where they're from really, but it's got like 100,000 members and they're women.
Yeah.
And I said, surely somebody there would be interested. And then I found out quite a few of my followers are in the group. So they were getting all excited,
nice.
And I just went, oh my God. So then I wanted to go to sleep. Forget that. Right? But then I was sending messages and talking to people and who can I speak to and this and that. So it was very, very exciting. This is such an exciting process.
Yeah, it was really amazing. Also for me, the writing, it was so cathartic. It was really connecting to my story, which I take for granted every day because, that's life. You know, and you live and you go by and the next day happens, and who has time to even think about it? But taking the time to think about it and write it and see what was important and what affected us, what was transformational, what victories, what challenges. It was really very, very beautiful. And here, the last, I guess, the 4 days before the launch on Monday, and then the launch on Monday and going into Tuesday was really fantastic. So I thank you all for your support. If you haven't gotten the book yet, please do. I'll put a link down below so that you can get it. And just be careful because Amazon has local websites. So the link I give you might not work in your local Amazon. However, if you just type in the name Creating a Life of Possibilities Against All Odds in the search in Amazon, you will definitely get to it in your local Amazon and be able to purchase it. It's still at launch price, so on the Kindle version. So enjoy and let us know what you think about it. And let's close that loop.
Yeah, and I think, the book says women inspiring women. And it's interesting because I asked my son, I said, did you buy the book? He goes, no, because it's for women. I said, well, it's written by women. So it's just, we said from women to women. I said, but a lot of men actually can read this book because it's simply about whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then I saw on Facebook a man said, he goes, can I buy the book? So the thing is that men can buy the book too. So men go through challenges as much as we do.
Absolutely.
And they might even understand by reading. I really truly believe that if a man, and I know of men who read books about women because they really want to learn about women, and I think that's quite it's quite a decent responsibility on their part to say, listen, if I want to understand them more, let me see how can I understand them better. And they read books and they go, oh, that's how women think, or that's so I think it's really great.
Yeah, I actually
really being accountable, I reckon. That's really being accountable, to their own relationships.
It's a good tool for learning. Women to learn about themselves and men to learn about women. Although the lessons are really, like you say, with our life lessons. Life happens to us all, men and women, and we all have to deal with it. And it's so interesting what you said about doing whatever it takes. That's what the book is really about, doing whatever it takes against all odds, which is really what I want to talk about if we can today. Doing whatever it takes.
Sure.
It's been hitting me all week. This doing whatever it takes is in my face, as you would say.
Yeah. Cool. So what do you want to talk about?
This whole concept, we are into personal development and we go to a lot of seminars, and let's say we've gone through all of the T. Harv Eker signature programs in Quantum Leap and Blair Singer Training Academy through all his programs. And a big thing that comes up in the programs is affirmations. I think all of the Quantum Leap programs have a program where you go through affirmations. Every time we come back into the room, it's going over the affirmations. And and I have, these are the affirmations from all the Quantum Leap programs that are in, and I actually use them and say them a lot. And one of them I put it on the side. Where did I put it? Because it was on the side. From Warrior Camp. I wanted to talk about it.
The only one I don't have is the trainer one, and that's the one that I'd want to have.
Yeah, I will give it to you. Train the Trainer Declaration.
Thank you. Take a photo.
Attitudes of a Warrior. Yeah, Attitudes of a Warrior. One of them is here. I am a warrior. I am willing to do whatever it takes. So, in personal development, there's a whole big thing of accountability and being responsible and doing whatever it takes. So also in the book, we all tell about our own stories. It's not that we were trained to do whatever it takes. We just did whatever it took and went on and, worked on ourselves. And even before working on ourselves, we still, life happens. So you got to do whatever it takes. And then you and I are both in the Blair Singer Training Academy, certified, right? And one of the things you have on the BSTA Code of Honor, right? BSTA Code of Honor that we have that is always next to me that I can refer to it. It says here, it says here.
No lay blame, justify, that one?
Do whatever it takes. Number 10, do whatever it takes, legally, ethically, and morally, to win and celebrate all wins. He says,
It's mine.
ownership. Yeah, yours is upside down. Your logo is in a different place. It says, take responsibility, take ownership and responsibility. I mean, these are the things that in personal development, I think is a key to success, because life does happen and we all have challenges. And at the end of the day, we have to take responsibility for our own lives. If we want our life to be good, we need to do something. We need to take steps to make it good, to make it better. And I myself have been faced with a lot of challenges this week in, how do I take responsibility? How do I do whatever it takes? And is it always possible to do whatever it takes in my own personal life? And then I had a great mirror with one of my clients. A family that I've been coaching, it's been in my business. They weren't a client that I coached, but one of my coaches coached them. A very successful process. I have a business for financial coaching, and they started to manage their money. They're probably 4 years ago, they started the process. This a year, they were doing well, really in control. And then the wife, Ifat, calls me up and she says to me, Mindy, I wanted to get some advice from you. I said, sure, no problem. What do you want? She says, we're in a bad financial situation, me and my husband, and we need to take a loan. And I fell back in my chair, and I was kind of shocked, because the whole process that people go through when they're coaching in my system is that loans for buying things for consumerism are not good. That the loan is actually what is going to disrupt your finances. It's going to give you insecurity. The loan you take to buy things, or the loan you take to refinance other debt because they're in debt now, is what actually gives you less stability. It goes loan after loan, and it comes like a black hole. And she knows this. Okay, she knows it, and her husband knows it. And then anyway, and I'm very proud of them, or proud of her, that she had the courage to stop and say, before we do that, and we go back to this, Band-Aid thing to take care of a symptom, I'm going to call up Mindy and get some advice. So kudos to her for knowing it was wrong, but she needed some outside push to stop her from doing what she knew was not right, which is also okay. But in the conversation, I said, you know what, Ifat, she called me. I said, I can't tell you to take a loan, but what I can do is, let's get on a call later with you and your husband, and I want to hear what's going on. There's no way, after being in this program, there's no way that you should be in this situation. What happened? Yeah. I want to know what's the story. What do you mean, what's the story? So let's start from the beginning. So we had a call that night, she, her husband, and I. And you had asked me before we got on this call, you said, Mindy, want to ask the question? Because I'm talking a lot right now. Because
no. I'm happy to listen. It doesn't matter who talks in this show. Okay. It's your story. But okay. I think I asked you is if you have, when you work with a couple, because I work with couples as a relationship coach. And there are times when one of them is not doing what they need to do, week after week after week after week, and after 10 weeks, you kind of go, okay. And you explain it that, you signed the code of honor, you had an agreement on the rules of the program. I kept asking you, are you okay with all of it? Yes, you were in agreement. I said, so the integrity of the program now is being challenged because you're not doing what you need to do, which means that we can't move ahead because I said, I'm doing the work with you in a session. That's not where the work needs to be done. You need to do the work. I give you what you need to do. Then you need to go away and practice it in life, right? And yep. And then in the end, I had to sort of say, okay, this is what I feel it's happening here. And I really had to call it. But after that, I was feeling a bit like, oh my God. But you know, the thing is, I believe that if he's not responsible, and it's just the outcomes are not happening.
Yeah.
You know, so I felt that I have to be responsible for the program and for the integrity of the program to call him on it. But it doesn't mean as a human being, I just sit there and I go, something's going on for him, but there's just resistance.
Yeah.
And he was like, I have to say something.
Yeah.
You know, and it comes a time, I think, in life that you actually, and whether this is just in my work or in life in general, people don't want to say anything because they don't want to hurt the person, they don't want to rock the boat, but ultimately they're missing out, you know. So and there's a disrespect to the program and to the people involved in it.
Ooh,
right?
Disrespect the program. Remind me about that. Disrespect to the program.
Disrespect. Okay, I'll write that down.
Remind me. That's important.
And this is you know, this is what I love about what we do, because clearly we talk a lot. You're also my finance coach and my marketing coach and my girlfriend, so it's really cool. But what is really great when you debrief, you learn so much, you know. And you know, today, just a quick sidestep, I was talking to one of the other girls who's in the BSDA. She's a level 1, and she was struggling with something and about money. And then I went over the abundance thing that you told me. And I asked her, I said, what does abundance mean to you? So then she kind of said it, and I said, yeah, close. I said, but it means satisfaction and appreciation. So you got to be satisfied for what you have, not in need of, and appreciate of what you have and feel satisfied about it. And I said, then what you're going to do is remove the things from your life that are stunting your growth as an individual and whatever else you want to do in life, because that comes from a place of limitation. And she was like, oh wow. And I'm sitting there, do you know how many times I have used that since you taught me?
Wow, amazing.
And that's the beauty of all of this. The more I teach it myself, like the little concepts, the more I'm learning, you know.
Wow.
So disrespect the program, right? That's what
disrespect the program. Important concept. And what you said also is true, that when you start to teach what you learn, that's the best learning. They say when you want to learn something and learn it fast, learn it as if you were going to teach it. And then if you can go teach it, even better. But I want to go back to this thought for a second. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, that's fine.
So I get on a call with her and her husband, and Annie. They're in 3 years or 4 years managing their money. She manages it on like tables, and she knows what their spending is. So I said to him, I said, whoa, it's not like you don't know. What's going on here? Why aren't you doing the work? And they started to talk and then started to cry. And we talked about what the difficulty is and where there's frustration. And it's a point of the whole issue is, and the bottom line is that they have to do whatever it takes to succeed, to live within their means. And sometimes to do whatever it takes means that the things aren't easy. You know, you have to step back, and it's good that they're working as a team. They're working together. And that's why I like to work with couples, to get them to start talking about money, to start doing things, to plan their life. Because at some point, they have to make decisions about what's best for their family. And it's their family. Let's do it together. So in this case with them, I spoke to them. I tried to address the issues. I allowed them to bring up what their frustrations were. But at the end of the day, I put them into a regime, as you did, as is it. So you guys are adults, and this is your income, and this is what you have to do. So right now, I'm giving you an assignment. You are going to create a balanced budget on paper by the end of this week, and you're going to send it to me. Now, they're no longer in the process, right? They finished, but they're my clients, and I feel that they're my responsibility. I want them to succeed. So this week, they have to give me a balanced budget, and then they have to monitor their money once a week. And I told her, not her on Excel. They're going to do it on a piece of paper that she and her husband can see it right in front of them, not pressure, because she has a big frustration. She's monitoring it on a computer. He doesn't see it at all. And she's frustrated because it's not working. And she's not working because they're not staying with the system.
Yeah.
So I said, take it off the computer, put it on a piece of paper. Both of you do it once a week, 15 minutes, and you send me. And you have just stay within the guidelines that you set. Be responsible and do whatever it takes. So if you have to get to a hard decision, get to a hard decision together according to your own priorities. Because that's what doing whatever it takes means. You know, you find the way. You look at your priorities, you see what your values are, you analyze it, and then think of the best solution for whatever's in front of you under the constraints, under the limitations of what's in front of you.
Yeah.
So that was a big for me. And I said to her at the end of the call, I said, I'm sorry that I was, they're not used to me being so, I don't even know how to say it, in their face about it. But I had to be in their face. I gave them an example of what if one of their children, God forbid, had celiac? If that was the diagnosis, then they would do everything. They'd get rid of all the grains in the house. They'd start cooking a different menu. They'd learn how to shop and buy and take care of their kid. They'd make sure whenever their kid went to a party or a restaurant or an event that there was food for them. They'd make it their priority. I said, your financial health is also a priority. Be responsible. Do whatever it takes. And sometimes we need to be reminded about that. And it could be that doing whatever it takes means going and getting outside help as well, as they did. I guess they needed for me to say to them, no, so that they can get back into the swing of things.
Yeah. Well, good result.
I hope so. But I'm gonna really put it on you today, because doing whatever it takes, and we were speaking about this also before, it can be quite exhausting. Sometimes you and I, we're involved in so many things, and sometimes you can feel like you're spreading yourself really thin, and you commit to other people, and you have to take responsibility for whatever you commit to. And I had quite a few things last week and this week that I committed to over a broad spectrum. And I have to take responsibility, and I have to do whatever it takes. So what do you do when you get into a situation where you're exhausted, or you've got a lot of things, or you're moving from, it's like last night I had a webinar, right? So I have a webinar today in a couple of hours. So the webinar for today is a new program, so that took priority. So I had to work on that. But then I had the webinar at night. So when do I stop doing this and start doing the webinar? And then we have this call today. and then I had to take care of my kids, and I have to cook, and I have a family, and responsibility is a big thing. So I was thinking to myself, I said, the key, the trick, what's the trick to taking responsibility and doing whatever it takes means, I think, setting priorities. Sometimes you have to stand back and say, okay, this is what my life looks at. These are the different hats that I wear. Matter of fact, another good book. Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He has a whole process here of time management that's real important. But when you take a step back and you look at all of the things, the projects you're working on, all the hats that you have, I think at some point you need to make a decision. What's my priority? What are the most important things? What are the key things in my life that are going to have the biggest impact for me and for my environment? Biggest impact. I think that's even one of our things in our code of honor. Well, anyway, one of the things is that has the best impact for the most amount of people. So also with
always take action to give the highest advantage to the greatest number of people. and entities with the least disadvantage to all.
Thank you. And I think that's how we have to look at our life. Say, what's that? And if there are things that are really important to us, but not the top priority, and we don't have time for them, we should be delegating. Find someone else to do it. Not all has to be on our shoulders. And that's my big lesson for the day. I've spoken a lot about it, but that's my big lesson about taking responsibility and doing whatever it takes, but you have to do it within the limitations of what you can do.
Well, I think it's really interesting that this is the topic for today, because that's where I'm at now, right? So it's really interesting because the more personal development you do, the more capacity you have. However, I think, and even though I believe I have very high awareness and I'm very present, somewhere along the line, I stopped being present to myself. And I was sick 2 weeks ago. So we did our session when I was in bed. And at the time I thought, this is really interesting. I work out, I eat well, I take my vitamins and minerals and all of that. Why am I still sick? And I thought, okay, my body's telling me something, so let me listen. So I would only get up for my coaching sessions, and then I would go back to sleep. And I would spend the day in bed doing nothing other than watching mindless something, whatever I was watching, or listening to music. And it was one of those things that I was a little bit at war with myself to give myself permission to heal, right? And it's really interesting. And then I push myself mentally. I go, come on, you don't have time to be sick, you know? And so, but that to me, it's also positive, because I don't want to sit there whining for weeks on end about being ill. It's getting, okay, I'll be better, you know? So then pull out the Louise Hay book and look at the affirmations about health and all of that, right? So, but today I actually had I got taken quite back. I got up in the morning and I couldn't move my right side. And I thought, what's going on? So I can't move my right side. And I had to go to the gym to do boxing. And I couldn't, even now, I can't stretch my hand out. And I'm thinking, I can't breathe. There's something in my back. I don't know what's going on, what's happening. And lucky I spoke to Linda, and she said, I reckon one of your ribs is out. How can my rib be out?
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. Well, guess what? My ribs were out. I went to the chiro and he's like, wow, he goes, your ribs are out. I go, what? Because your back is swollen. What? So I didn't do the class. I just got on a bike and I did a bit of bike riding, right? But even that I had to, you know, like you lean over. I couldn't lean over. And I came back home and I went back to sleep and I thought, okay, my body is telling me slow down. Slow down. You know, you don't need to do everything. And it makes me wonder, when did we become a society where we always have to be delivering something, producing something? And I find this with a lot of my clients and people that I speak to who feel guilty for taking a breather, for sitting down on a couch and reading a book, because they feel that they always have to be doing something. And then I have another girlfriend who worked a business for a long, long time, and then they sold it. So now she's at home recouping herself and all of that, and her partner comes home and calls her lazy, says, what you've done all day. You know, and it's, but again, it's just clearly there's something that's going on for him, you know, and she said, she goes, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And she goes, and I feel guilty for being at home. You know, and I hear that quite a lot, that maybe we could do, maybe, I don't know whether this is a subject I want to touch, but sometimes people feel guilty for not doing stuff. Yeah. And guilt is, you know, the only time I believe a person should feel guilty is if they've really done something to harm another person. Right? But there's just this thing that we feel that we haven't done enough, and you know, and I just go, I don't really feel guilty, you know, I just go, because, you know, kind of, I studied enough, but I used to, but I have to really be responsible to me now, because if I'm not 100% responsible for my health, my mental well-being, my emotional well-being, I'm not going to be no good to anybody else. I burn out, and then I'm really no good to anybody else. So it's kind of like, you know, you asked me before, so what are you going to do? I actually got my phone, and you know, where the alarm is on the phone, on the iPhone, next to it, there's this thing called bedtime. So there's on the app, within the app, it has this thing called bedtime. So what you can actually do, you can set it up when to wake up every single day and when to go to bed every single day, and it actually sets an alarm for you.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah. So I went past the wake up, because my wake up time, it's a little bit different, but my evening time, I put down, now it's gone to 11 p.m. It was 10 p.m.
10. Wow, that's a challenge.
Right? And then it also asks you what days, right? So then I put Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Don't forget Friday, because I might go out now Friday. And then I go, done. So let's see what's going to happen now. So I have a feeling that at 10 o'clock, it's going to go to bed. And I have a friend of mine. He's a photographer. And I tell you what, he has when to wake up, when to have his break, because when he works, he's so focused. When to rest. So thank you, Costa. I don't know if you ever watched this, but thank you, Costa. When to eat, and when the alarm goes off, he gets up and he goes and does it.
Yeah,
he's got real discipline around that, because he knows that if he doesn't do this, he'll be sitting there all day and wake up at night, 10 o'clock going, oh my God, I haven't eaten all day.
Yeah.
Because he used to do that years ago, and it wasn't very healthy for him, whereas health is very important to him at the moment. And he's very successful in his business. So he needs all the energy he can muster, right?
That's great.
So when I saw that and I remembered today, I thought, okay, what can I do? So I'm taking responsibility and I'm being accountable to my own well-being. What do? Okay, I do need to go to bed earlier. I really do. So I'm aiming for 10.
That would be a tough call for me.
Let's monitor that.
Yeah.
But it's a tough call because we work with people overseas with different time frames, right? So that means that we have our meetings and all of that, which happen at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. But then I thought about, so how, because I don't want to miss out. This month I missed out on every call, right? Because they were 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I got all stubborn and I said, no, I'm going to be sleeping. But then I thought, okay, I don't want to miss out on the calls because it's good information and every single one of them adds more knowledge to me, which then I can use on my clients. So I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to force myself on the days when I have the meetings to go to bed at 9 o'clock. But by then I'm tired anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to really redesign my days and go to bed at 9 o'clock and then wake up at midnight or wake up at 1 in the morning or whatever. So I had a good, solid sleep, because the sleep before 12, before midnight, is the most important sleep.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. I've heard this many, many times. And then if I suck myself into, okay, I'm going to go to sleep now knowing full well that I'm getting up, then when the clock goes off, because I've done this before with training, when I used to train with Mac, and sometimes I had to work out with him at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Ooh.
But what I did, I'd go to bed at 9:30, I'll sleep till 2:45, then I wake up, do my workout, and then I would go straight back to bed. And a lot of people say, how can you do that after a heavy workout? Because I went to bed with that mindset, so it works.
Nice.
When you put something in your head and you just go, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing, or this is how I want to wake up in the morning. And that's why it's so important. Sometimes you'd go to bed with visualizing your day, or having some affirmations, or whatever. So, you know, I mean,
Rod says that in his book, The Miracle Morning. Before you go to sleep, give yourself affirmations that you're going to wake up early and you're going to do your morning routine and you're going to have enough sleep and you're going to be energized before you go to sleep, so that when you do wake up, it doesn't matter how many hours you slept, that you feel good. And it works.
You know, I have to say, I'm actually quite excited, if I can say excited, about not feeling well, because, and thank you for my ribs for moving, because it's really amazing, like God, the universe, the source, or whatever you believe in, kind of slaps you around once in a while to wake you up. And I connect to myself, and I just go, right, okay, time to take care. And so, and I also discovered, I was speaking to somebody on Sunday, I went to this Latin festival. Oh my goodness, it was amazing. So instead of sitting at home and working, I said, I need some space. I need some clarity. So I went out dancing.
Nice.
And I had a ball. And I ran into somebody that I have known of for about 25 years. We never spoke.
Huh.
And we spoke on Sunday for hours. And he talked about meditation and this and that and the other. And he talked about this meditation that apparently is somewhere down here, a couple of hours away from where I live, where you go for 10 days and you do not talk for 10 days. And you do.
I think that's an impossible feat for us, Annie. Oh my God.
And you don't look at anybody either. When you have lunch, you don't look at them, because this whole process, it's called Dashana, Dashma, something Vishvana, or something meditation, right? And the whole concept of it is to really connect to you, because we give so much of ourselves to others and we're forever communicating that we don't communicate with ourselves. And the interesting thing is that about 2 or 3 months ago, I kind of went, I don't want to talk to anyone. You know, I was doing so many calls and networking and meetings and coaching and events. And I said, and one morning I woke up and I said, I don't want to talk to anyone. Now that's like rare for me, right? Yeah. And I said, I'd like to go away. And I remembered that, you know, Alfredo Culebro from Mexico.
Yeah.
So Alfredo Culebro is like one of the first people that got certified by Blair.
Oh,
right?
Wow, okay.
So when Alfredo met Robert Kiyosaki and Blair, he didn't speak English.
No way. Right?
Yeah. So it was really funny, because he told Robert Kiyosaki, he goes, I'm going to fuck us now. And Robert Kiyosaki goes, what? He goes, I am going to fuck us now. He goes, how are you going to do that? He goes, like this. He goes, oh, focus. Focus. And that is like, and then apparently Robert Kiyosaki had a party at his house. And when Alfredo walked in, Robert stopped everybody at the party and said, this is the fuckers guy. It's so funny. This is the fuckers guy. So Alfredo built a business from zero in Mexico. And he has the biggest following in Mexico now, because Alfredo works with a different demographic, financial demographic, right? And I remember about 4 years ago, he said to me, he goes, I can't talk to you now, because we decided to have a meeting. He goes, I can't meet with you now. Can we meet in 2 weeks? He goes, I'm actually going into my full silence meditation for 10 days.
Oh, gosh.
And I said, what are you talking about? He said, I go away and I don't talk to anybody for 10 days.
Wow.
I said, how do you do that? He said, you practice. He goes, but what it does, it cleansed him out. And he goes, then I'm ready to come back. And he does it every year. And for some reason, it didn't leave my mind ever since.
Wow.
So now I bump into somebody who's just done it. And he said, it is out of this world. So I'm thinking, okay, goal for next year.
Nice
How
goal.
about that?
I would say climb the mountain again, because it's the closest thing you're going to get without being quiet for 10 days straight, 7 days of fuckus and not talking and looking down. So Annie, we've come to the end of our half hour plus.
Awesome. You and I can talk forever. We have so many things to cover. Thank God for this show. Thank God, Kristen from K2 Adventures, for telling us to have our own show.
Yeah.
And give it up for Kristen. But you know what the thing is? We got onto it straight away.
We did. Did whatever it takes.
Yeah. So it's awesome. Well, everybody, till next week, be accountable, be responsible.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.